Welcome to Real Talk, Real Women, a podcast created to equip, inspire, motivate, and empower career-driven, high-achieving, entrepreneurial-minded, grown-ass women who are bold enough to stand in their truth and wise enough to know they deserve better. Let's get ready to recharge, reset, and remember her. Here are your hosts, Adriane M. Johnson and Martha Cooper Hudson.
Hello. Welcome back to another episode of Real Talk, Real Women, the podcast that was designed and created to equip, inspire, motivate, and empower powerful grown-ass women.
Oh, yes.
I am your host, your girl, Martha Cooper Hudson, and I am joined in the studio by my hot sauce to my fish, my peanut butter to my jelly, my sister, my friend, my co-host, Miss Adriane M. Johnson. Adriane, come on in and say hello to our audience.
Hello. I want to say hey to all the real grown-ass women out there. Y'all, welcome back to another episode of Real Talk, Real Women. Let's get it, Martha.
Yes, indeed. Last time we discussed, and we want to continue in that same topic today because we didn't finish what we wanted to share with the women. It's so much.
It was so powerful. There's so much to unpack. Yes.
Ooh, I tell you. And so today we want to continue our discussion on how women can not how, the very things that they need to release.
Yes.
In order for them to recharge, to refocus, to reset, and to remember her. So last week, Adriane, we talked about, things as women, things we need to resign from.
Yeah, Martha, it was such a powerful conversation. And as you said, we didn't finish because there's a lot to dive into. So we really took a deep dive into what do we need to resign from? How do we release the guilt? How do we create a new place or space that allows us to be able to make those changes, to make those shifts? And how do we get organized so we can press reset and delete on the things that do not serve us, on the things that disrupt our peace? Man, it was so powerful. And so we're excited to be back this week to talk about, do you really believe this is possible?
That's right.
And this episode, we're just going to call it Belief Check.
Yes, we're going to do a mic check.
Oh, yeah.
1, check 2. Okay, I thought I'm having
My mic sounds nice.
Mic check.
Hey.
1. Hey.
Now, we doing a mic check, but today is all about Belief Check.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
And we want to come in strong just to put some things there in front of you so that you could do a belief check.
That's right.
Because it's so important, Adriane. One of the things that we know as women and in our everyday conversation, that's right, because if you hadn't figured out by now, we talk every day.
Every day.
Twice, multiple times a day.
Yes.
But there are things that, we believed in that no longer serves us.
That's right.
In this space of grown womanhood that we're in. And it wasn't that those things were right or wrong.
Right.
They just don't serve us in this space in our lives in which we are. And so we want to do that belief check, And so, Adriane, share with us, open up. Let's dive in.
Yeah, let's
into
do it.
Really having that belief check.
Yeah, Martha, what you said was so powerful because beliefs are deep. And they are very personal.
Very much
and
so.
so I feel like we need to put a disclaimer out there as we get into this conversation. We all have our own inner dialogue, and you all are just kind of tapping into the conversations that Martha and I have all the time.
That's right.
All the research and the personal development that we've done in these areas. So I just want to say, I know it's going to sting.
Yeah.
I know it's going to sting. You may feel like you've been punched in the face, kicked in the gut, hit in the face with a brick, but it's going to be okay.
Yes, I can promise you. It's like you remember when you were a kid and you scraped You fell off the bicycle. You fell down because you was roller skating
Yeah.
and you were trying to backwards skate and you slipped and you skinned your knees.
Yes.
And then you run in the house, and you tell your mom you're bleeding, you're cut, you hurt. And then she pulls out the alcohol.
Oh my goodness.
The white one, not the green one. She pulled out the white alcohol, rubbing alcohol. And then she would put it on there because they needed to clean it and purify it. And it burned and it stung for a moment.
So
But the moment that my mom blew on that wound when she put that alcohol on it, it made it feel better.
Yeah.
This is how it's going to happen.
We're going to give you the alcohol swab, but we're going to blow on it.
We're going to blow on it.
Is that all right?
We're going to say, we're going to blow on it. We're going to blow on it too and make sure that you digest it.
Yeah, we just want to give you some very practical things to think about so that you can do an honest assessment of where you are. And then you can create a plan that works for you to make the changes that you want to make in your life. One of our taglines and one of the core beliefs on our campus is that we want to equip, inspire, motivate, and empower powerful grown-ass women. We want to make sure that you are empowered enough to activate. Did you hear what I said? Activate the changes that you want to see in your life. So as we think about our beliefs, it really is super important that we as women think about, what do I believe? And where in the world did those beliefs come from? Sometimes we just get into a mode and that programming is so strong. We just do things without even realizing that we're doing it, without understanding why we are doing it. So really taking a deep dive into where did those beliefs come from is going to help us. So let's talk about that, Martha.
As you were talking, to know me is to know that I think that I'm a singer. Okay.
Yeah, she does.
Yeah, I do. I do. And you can't tell me any differently. However, my girlfriends, they are. But as you were thinking, as you were talking, right? And I was reminded of some lyrics from a song. I promise you I'm not going to sing it today. But the lyric says, when I think back over my life.
Come on now.
And I think things over.
Y'all know that one?
I can truly say that I've been blessed because I got a testimony.
Yeah, y'all know it.
So when we are talking about these things, this is a space and a place that we had to go and visit.
That's right.
Before we could ever share that.
We've walked it out.
We have walked these
We're
things.
Still walking it out.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We are not there, but we are not where we used to be.
Sure.
And we smile because we know where it is that we are going. And so when I think back over those very things, I truly can say that it started way back when. So, I tell you all the time, when people are having a disruption in their life and their space, it didn't start right there.
That's right.
That leak started way long time ago.
Sure.
Like a plumbing leak that you continue to that's fixed. You continue to pace it and
try to
patch it up, and then eventually it blows.
Yeah.
Same
then
thing.
You got a big old mess.
Then you got a big mess. Same thing with life. Same things with those belief systems. I think back to the seeds that was planted.
Yeah.
Those seeds as a child, because again, these beliefs was given to me in my childhood
from very early on. Yeah.
And they started to gain roots.
Sure.
And the roots started to plant. And once the roots anchor, it's hard to dig those roots
That's
up.
right.
And so I know that my beliefs that I had growing up, they started with that seed that was planted and that tree that started to grow.
Yeah.
And those roots that planted themselves deep underneath that soil, deep underneath within me, that was very hard to remove. But what I realized, Adriane, is that I had to ask myself a couple of things. Are those roots really right for me now?
Are they serving you now? That's
Are
right.
they serving me in my stage of life with all this grown woman-ish? Are they serving me now?
Yeah.
And they were not.
Martha, that is so powerful. And we led by saying beliefs are deep. They are personal.
Yes.
sometimes generational. We believe certain things, but beliefs can change.
They can.
Give yourself permission to change.
Yes.
You said something so powerful again in the intro. That iteration of yourself, it served who you were back then.
That's right.
But it doesn't serve you now. And the truth is, a lot of us have recognized that it doesn't serve us. We see it manifested in our health, in our physical health. We have body diseases, and we see it manifested in our mental health. We see it manifested in our relationships. And so we have to give ourselves permission to make those changes.
That's right.
And that, that makes me think about the second point we talked about, beliefs. What do I value?
Yeah.
If one of my core values is integrity, then guess how I'm going to operate? I'm going to operate ethically. I'm going to operate so that my word is bond, the way we used to say. If one of my values is security, guess what? Perhaps I've given myself permission to stay in a relationship because it provides financial security, even though the person may be physically abusive, mentally abusive. So again, thinking about what is it that we believe. If you believe in constantly showing affection, that's a sign that you show people that you love, but you're with someone that is incompatible. They don't receive affection well. Yeah. They don't like to be touched. They're not touchy-feely. Then you have to make some adjustments in your life about that. So really getting crystal clear, y'all going to hear us say that a lot on this platform, crystal clear about what it is that you want, about what your values are, so that you can again get into alignment with those things that light you up right now and those things that feed who you are right now.
And when I think about one of the things that you just spoke on, and one of those things was freedom. I can remember, even as a child, guys, I have always, to know me is to know that Martha Cooper Hudson has always been an entrepreneur.
Oh, for sure.
And with that was because I always wanted my freedom.
Time freedom.
My time freedom. I didn't want anyone to put a limit on my freedom, to put a limit on my income, to put a limit on where I could live, how I could live, when I could live, and what I could do while I'm living.
To tell you when you can take a lunch break.
Listen.
To tell you when you can be sick, in air quotes. How many days you can be sick.
Absolutely.
To tell you when you can take a vacation and spend time with your family to feed and sow into yourself.
And so, now.
To tell you when you got to set your alarm clock. You thought I was done.
Stop that.
Because come on now.
Because you got to get
complete and total freedom. That's right.
Exactly right. And so with that, freedom was very important for me. However, as a child growing up, my mother saw those gifts. She saw my entrepreneurship spirit.
That drive, right?
She saw that drive, my tenacity. She saw my willingness to never give up.
Sure.
But that wasn't a part of her belief system. She was instilled, and I understand that, in order for me to survive and to live, I needed to get a job. I needed first to get a good education.
Right.
I needed to go to college and get a good job. I needed to then purchase a home and get married and get that white picket fence and have, 2.5 children. I needed to do those very things. And my gifts were not cultivated because it was not a part of her belief system. Being an entrepreneur by itself was hard. Now, but here's the caveat. My mom has always owned her own business, but she's never bet on herself 100%.
Sure.
She had the security.
Had a safety net.
That safety net of that job who still dictated a lot of her life, but she also had her salon that her and her twin to this day at
they
75 still operate
That's awesome.
together. That was her belief.
Sure.
And it wasn't until I released those roots and dug those roots up that I realized, Adriane, you know what? I have everything inside of me to make sure that I have the freedom that I want, that I have the financial security that I want, and that it allows me to have, to live a life with my family that I truly want. And it's not, please understand, that there is nothing wrong with
That's
a
right.
job.
That's right.
Okay. I always will tell you that it's something wrong with just having a
Having
job.
it. That's right.
Because that power is in someone else's hands, which will not allow you to have that freedom. So you spoke on it.
Mm-hmm.
Freedom, job, relationship,
family, security,
friendship.
integrity, all of those things. Martha, as you were talking about your mom and her journey, a journey that she's still on, to be honest, and one that we are absolutely still on. I think it's important for us to say explicitly that this is not an indictment of the way that our parents raised us.
Oh God, no.
It is not an indictment at all. We honor, we recognize, we appreciate, because we are some strong women. Do you understand? As a function of watching and being groomed by a great, strong family and support unit. So that's the first thing that we want to say.
Absolutely.
But that formula fit for then. Your mom's 75 years old.
Absolutely,
The
she
way
is.
that women, and especially people of color, had to operate. In this country back then, there was a formula
There was a
that
formula.
you had to follow.
That's right.
Right?
That's
that
right.
formula is it doesn't work for me.
Right.
To me, it's obsolete. And this day and time, I have to write my own formula.
That's
I have
right.
to write my own prescription for my own life. And that's I felt like it was necessary for us to say that, because this may be offensive to some people, but one thing I've learned is offense is rooted in truth.
That's right. Come on.
If it stings you, that old saying, a hit dog will holler, right?
Will holler every time.
Right. If it stings a little bit, then this is a good place to put a pin and check my belief system.
That's
and
right.
why this stings me right now, because I see the truth in it. You can call me, if people will say, Adriane, oh, she's such a B. I'm not going to get offended at all, because guess what? I know me.
That's right.
That ain't me.
That's right.
Now, if you want to say, that girl is so crazy, she's full of energy, or, then I receive and accept that, because I know myself. And so thinking about what it is that we value.
That's right. Adriane, you said something before you go to this next one. You said, and this is where I challenge most people, because, again, our roots are comfortable. They are comfortable. We have known this all of our lives. So what I challenge you all to do is take your pen back.
Take it back.
And write your own story.
Write your own story.
Yeah.
That's right. That's phenomenal. Because we do truly have the power to do that. We really do. Martha, as you and I were kind of talking offline about this process and challenges, because we want to give you always practical solutions to this. It is important to all of our powerful grown-ass women out there that you recognize that this voice inside of you, the inner dialogue that you have, will be a whisper, right? It'll be a whisper. It'll be you talking to yourself going, that didn't feel good.
Not at all.
That didn't feel right. I can't believe that joker did that again. No, she did not call me with that. What, these kids? Oh, God, nobody, man, they don't appreciate me. You know what? I'm sick and tired of this. But you pick up the phone anyway.
That's right.
You're still there. You still show up because you feel a sense of responsibility, a sense of duty, a sense of obligation to fulfill the role that you've been fulfilling. Now, when you start to get to a point where you are empowered enough to activate changes, to do some things differently, I need you to know the resistance is going to come. The tension is going to come. Go back to that rubber band that we talked about in the other episode. The tension is going to be there. And those other voices are going to be shouting at you.
That's right.
While that inner voice is just whispering. You think your kids or your spouse or your workplace is going to and listen to this expression, take this laying down? Absolutely not. What you mean you're not going to be there for me anymore? What do you mean I'm not going to be able to call you whenever I want to and have you jump through the hoops to make it happen?
Absolutely.
So it's important that you recognize the resistance is going to come.
Yeah.
So have a plan of action, to have a strategy. The same way I asked you previously to sit down and write what looks like, sounds like, what you want. You need to have a plan that says, if they start tripping, this is how I'm going to handle it.
That's right.
If I get weak, this is who I can call.
Yeah.
When I get weary, this is who I can call. When I'm unclear, this is where I can go. You need to write out all of those connections for yourself so that you have a crystal clear plan to lead you towards success.
That's right. That change, that shift.
There it is, the shift.
If you do not change and you do not have a plan of action, Adriane, on this platform, we always share with each other. He who fails to plan plans
They
to
plan to
fail.
fail.
And so if you do not spend time with yourselves, ladies, I can tell you the best time I have is with myself. You know, one of the great lessons, and my mom taught me many, you know, you said strong. I know, I'll tell people, I tell my husband all the time, you married a strong woman. I didn't ask to be strong.
Sure.
I don't want to be strong. I do
Right.
not. I was raised by one.
That's right.
And therefore, I think that women, we are strong, you know, as they like to say, strong Black women. You know, I don't pride myself on being that way, because when we have to be strong, that means that there's something missing in that space, and you got to step up to it. And that's a whole nother discussion. We'll talk about, we got a lesson. We got a podcast coming on that one. However, with that being said, you got to be strong enough to make the shift.
Yeah.
To put a plan of action in place. And, you know, when I get up in the mornings, when everybody else is asleep, my house is quiet, that's my me, myself, and I time that I take for myself, and I read my word for the day. I go into praise and worship with God in the mornings, because I know craziness is going to come sometime during the day. And I anchor myself, and I equip myself with the armor that I need. And then throughout the day, as I know that I have just made a shift, this doesn't feel comfortable, I start to reaffirm myself.
That's right.
And what it is that I know is right for me, because somebody is going to come along the way to say, Martha, you shouldn't do that. But that's right for me.
That's right.
And so I reaffirm myself every day. And then I practice, because, you know, our kids are savvy, and mine are still younger, and my sunshine, you know, that what you guys are going to learn a lot about. That's my boy child, right? My sunshine he will push the limit and try and I have learned that no is a complete sentence.
That's right.
So therefore, but why?
Yes.
Because I said so.
Right.
No is a complete sentence. I don't need any explanation behind, and neither do you, about putting yourself in that space to love you, to spend time with you.
That's right.
And to be able to check on your belief system.
That's right.
So you don't allow anybody else
Martha,
to mess that
That's
up.
right. You know, as we think about the things that we need to resign from, and the things that we need to release ourselves guilt around, and how we really reset. How do we start fresh?
That's right.
There is a saying that says the best way to predict the future is to create it.
There you go.
So when you think about the kind of life that you want for yourself, create that.
Yeah.
And you do that by getting clear, by activating, and making sure that you have the supports in place to help you do that. Because nothing that we do well is done alone. That's why this platform is so powerful.
That's right.
We have thousands of women that we tap into with expertise, with hearts just like ours, that really want to see us be successful. And so that collective energy, that collective intellect is how we're going to make it and how we're going to get it done. And so it's so important for women to reach outside of yourselves. And what made me think about that was we think we got to be strong.
Yeah.
We think we always have to be strong, and that we always have to be the one to have the answer. And the reality is nobody can do that by themselves.
That's right.
You're going to fall short. And so it's super important, again, that you recognize where the shortfalls are, where you're going to get weak, because you got to know yourself. The only way you're going to know that is to spend time with yourself.
That's right.
And in communities that sow into you, that feed you. You always had that entrepreneurial spirit. You always had that zest, that zeal, that vibrance. You always lit up when you got in front of people.
That's right.
But it wasn't until you changed your environment and you got into a space with other fierce and phenomenal women that we began to create a platform where women could come in a non-competitive atmosphere.
That's right.
and love on one another.
And
shine
love.
the light on. You know that song, Shine the Light on
Yeah.
them, right? Right? Where we can shine the light on one another.
That's right.
Where we can lift one another, where we can support one another, where we can pray for one another.
That's right.
We can laugh together. We can have a think tank. We can unpack the problems and we can come up with solutions, and we can be there to hold each other accountable.
That's right.
That's what it's all about.
That is what it's all about.
That's how you make the shift.
That is exactly right. And making that shift is imperative in order for you to recharge, to renew,
That's right.
to refocus,
That's right.
and to remember her. And so as we conclude yet again another episode
Yeah.
of Real Talk, Real Women, we want to thank you,
Thank you.
my bold, our beautiful and unapologetic sisters that are listening to this particular episode.
Yes.
We ask that you share us with your friends and your families and your network, so that you all can start these very conversations within your circle of friends.
That's right.
We thank you, because without you, none of this is possible. And as you go throughout your week, always remember that you are a grown-ass woman. You are bold enough to stand
That's right.
in your truth and wise enough to know you deserve better.
That's right.
So remember to allow your light to shine as you light another woman's candle this week. And as always, to my ride or die,
Oh, yeah.
to my sister friend,
Yeah.
to my co-host, Miss Adriane M. Johnson. Adriane, I can't thank you enough, my sister.
My absolute pleasure.
Because when we started almost 8 years ago with a vision, you took that vision and you ran with it.
Yeah.
And because of that, we're still on this journey
We're still
today.
here, sis. That's right.
And so, Adriane, tell the women, tell our badass sisters
Yes.
how they can find us out there in the world.
Oh my goodness, Martha. It's been so much fun being here and unpacking our beliefs. And there's more work to do. But ladies, we want to make sure that you all know how to follow us, how to keep in touch. So make sure you go to all digital platforms, all virtual platforms like iTunes, Spreaker, iClouds, iHeart, YouTube, Google Podcast. We're going to be there for you all. And make sure that you go over to YouTube and follow us at Rediscover Her TV, and also on IG and Facebook at Rediscover Her too. So there's a lot happening. We've got so much planned. It's going to be absolutely phenomenal. It's going to be life-changing. It's going to be just what you need, but we need you all to be a part of that. So make sure you join us, all right?
And make sure you do not miss the next episode of Real Talk, Real Women, because we are coming back with yet again another powerful topic that will equip, inspire, motivate, and empower.
You better know it.
Indeed. So ladies, have an amazing day, and we will see you on the next episode.
Yes. Peace and blessings.